Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Football Overseas YouTube channel, and welcome to another preview and prediction clip of the English Football League Championship. We're now into game week 40 this coming weekend, and as you would assume, there is a full programme of games across Friday and Saturday. So we're looking forward to that. A just reflection on what happened last weekend, and there's been a change at the top of the table. Because we had Leeds now, who have only won one game in their last five since that magnificent win at Sheffield United, when perhaps they just felt caught in a good place. Well, they were in a good place, but they've just let things slide a little bit. A couple of draws, and last week was a very late equaliser by Swansea, right at the death, as I say, which knocked 2 points off their total. Sheffield United had a good win as well. They had a good win over Coventry, of course, on the Friday night, 3-1. And Burnley had another one of their Burnley 1-0ers against Bristol City. But I have to say, being a fan, I'm watching a few clips of that. It was worthy of more than 1-0. They were very dominant in the match against Bristol City. Didn't really do themselves much justice on the day. They were completely overran, really. So Burnley probably should have won by more, and that's been a little bit of their nemesis. But all of that, they got the 3 points, and when you're in game week 39 going on to 40, that's all you need to do. And Burnley now have closed the gap on Sheffield United, who are top, to 2 points, and Leeds also on 81. Leeds just have the slight advantage of the three teams, if you like, in their goal difference column. Which is plus 51 as opposed to 42 Burnley and 27 Sheffield United. So that could well play a factor in these last 7 matches. At the bottom, we've also had a bit of a change around because Derby, midweek, because they had to carry their match over because of Preston's involvement in the FA Cup, Derby chalked up their 4th successive win. And they've really just found their feet, or found their form, or rediscovered their form in the nick of time, possibly, because they're now out of the bottom 3. That midweek win has put Cardiff into it on 40 points. Derby have 41, and in between those two are Hull City, who went down to Luton at home. We'll chat about a little bit about that when we get to their respective fixtures. So there we are, a bit of a change around. Plymouth, unfortunately, still bottom, and they're now 7 points adrift. And as always, when you match points in matches, I think it's a difficult ask. 7 points over 7 games just to get above the teams above you. I think it's looking a bit bleak for them now. They've given it a good go in recent weeks, but just coming up short, as they have done, to be fair, most of the season, unfortunately. But Luton, Cardiff, Hull, Derby, Oxford, Stoke are in the real red zone, if you like, and hoping that they don't slip back into it are Portsmouth, Swansea and Queen's Park Rangers. But having said all of that, between 3rd place Cardiff City and 15th place Queen's Park Rangers, there is only 7 points. So those two teams, as I say, the 7 point factor, 5 points, 5 points. 7 points between Luton and them, but 5 points between the bottom 3. So there's a quick summary of where we are in the league table. So looking forward to another exciting weekend. They're all going to be exciting weekend. Every point counts. Just about every match has a bearing on something. There'll be very few, as there rarely is at this time of the year in the Championship, any what we call dead rubbers. Which is a good thing for the competition. So looking forward to this. It's got very similar trait to last season, hasn't it? With 3 teams at the top and one going to miss out on a high points total. It could even be a 90-point team again missing out, which would be quite incredible. Of automatics, I mean. Anyway, let's have a look at the fixtures. Let's crack on through those. We start Friday night. Blackburn Rovers, who are really having a poor run at the moment. Only 1 point in their last 6 matches, I think. 1 out of 18 now. And they went down to Portsmouth last weekend, which is a vital win for Portsmouth, by the way. But Blackburn sort of now resigned to mid-table, I think. they've just lost their way in the last few weeks. All the managerial changes and a few off-field things, I think, in the background to have an influence on everything as well. So they're playing Middlesbrough, who had a good win against Oxford last weekend at home. Probably as expected, but Middlesbrough are still right in that playoff mix for those 5th and 6th places that are up for grabs. And I think they'll go to Blackburn and sort of take advantage of Blackburn's sort of issues at the moment, let's call them that, collectively. And I think they'll win the match. Blackburn Rovers 1, Middlesbrough 2. Then all the rest of the matches are, unusually, on Saturday. No Sunday game this week, so all on Saturday. We have 3 midday or 12:30 kickoffs, lunchtime kickoffs. The first of those is Coventry City, who are having a bit of a tricky fixture list, aren't they? They went to Sheffield United last Friday night and came second, as we know, came unstuck a bit. And the right result, by the way, I think, in that match. And now they're home to Burnley, who, as I say, will feel all of a sudden, well, they are right back in the mix with 5 wins out of the last 6 and just 1 draw in the middle of that. So they, as I say, had a dominant 1-0 win, if there is such a thing, over Bristol City as well. So I think these two will slug out a draw. I think Coventry will just take a bit of a surprise if they take something in the match, and I think they just might well do. And I think it'll be a 1 each draw. So Coventry City 1, Burnley 1 in that one. Now we come on to Luton versus Leeds. Now, Leeds, as I say, just 1 win in the last 5. Fans getting a bit nervous, or more than a bit nervous, but they're getting a bit fractious as well. They're seeing this excellent position they built up for themselves just a few weeks ago, all frittered away in the last few weeks through a manner of things, poor game management, and perhaps some not on top form performances. So they haven't lost away by any means. It just means they've just brought everything back into the mix, and it's 2 from 3. Most definitely now. We also, Burnley were just trying to stay with them, but now they're right in it. So Leeds will need to get back to winning ways, to sort of make use of that excellent goal difference they've got, which is worth an extra point if the sides are level, of course. And I think they'll go down to Luton. Luton had a brilliant 1-0 win at Hull. Very backs to the wall at times, a little bit, but Hull didn't really sort of lay too many gloves on them, if I'm honest. But Luton and Leeds then, Luton will certainly give it their best shot. They're having a really good, they've had a bit of a mini recovery now under Matt Bloomfield. He looks a lot of a happier man than he did a few weeks ago. So I think Leeds, they just need to brush themselves down, go down to Luton and say, look, this side struggled all the season. We've been at the top. Let's go and make that be apparent in the match. So I'm going to take Luton 0, Leeds United 2. On to playoff contenders West Bromwich, who went down to Norwich very late on last weekend, 1-0. And Sunderland scraped a 1. I say scraped. I always think 1-0's feel scraped to me. That's the wrong thing to say. But they had because any win in the Championship is any win in any way is well earned. And they kept a clean sheet and put Millwall away 1-0. I think this will be a tricky one, though, for them, because Sunderland are on a bit of a free wheel to a certain degree. They're just really counting down these 7 matches. They're just about guaranteed a playoff place. And West Bromwich Albion are desperate to make one of those positions their own in these next 7 matches. So I think, given the mindset of the 2 teams at the moment, I think West Brom will come out on top here. West Brom never do things they never go into overdrive, do they, very often? So I'm going to take them to win by 1-0. West Brom 1, Sunderland 0. Then on to the 3 o'clocks on Saturday. We have Bristol City against Watford, and it's Bristol City, as I say, who went down to Burnley. Their first defeat in a while, first defeat in 7 or 8, I think. And they are on 57 points also. It's their goal difference that's keeping them out. And it's significantly worse than West Brom. 13 for West Brom, plus 13 of course, and plus 7 for Bristol City. And in between those two, Middlesbrough plus 10. So Bristol City's goal difference is, because they haven't scored that many, this season is letting them down. Just 49 in 39 matches, which isn't a great deal if you're a side looking to be successful. Anyway, they're in the mix, and they're on, as I say, very much in the mix. And I think against Watford, who had a dogged 0-0 against Plymouth last weekend, I think Bristol City will come out on top here. Their home form's been pretty good of late. There's a decent atmosphere at games at Ashton Gate, and a 3 o'clock one gives everybody a chance to get warmed up, as opposed to 12:30, which is a bit early for everybody. So I think Bristol City will just come out on top. They never, as I say, they're another side that never do it really very often with much to spare, and there won't be much to spare here. Bristol City 2, Watford 1, my take on that one. Now we have two sides that are probably feeling quite relieved of themselves at the moment. Millwall and Portsmouth, very much in the middle of the table. Certainly Millwall on 51 points, just about safe from anything. No thought about either end of the table. Given the start they had to the season, if you recall, they're probably reasonably happy with progress. Portsmouth definitely happy with their progress of late, since the sort of early days of the autumn when they were really struggling. They've come out and made a few signings, as we know, some loan, of course, but nevertheless, that's the market. And they are now on 45 points. Oh, as I said just now, only 5 points from the bottom three, but they're playing a lot better, with a lot more assurance, a lot more "we're here" type of attitude, I think, in making feeling a part of the Championship now, totally. And I think they will grab a point up at Millwall. They'll be happy with that. They'll take a draw. Considering their way form, it still needs some attention to tender loving care, I think. So I'm going to say Millwall 1, Portsmouth 1. Oxford United and Sheffield United. Now, Sheffield United, having reached the summit last weekend, will want to maintain it, and they can only do that with a win. And I think they will get that down at Oxford. Oxford lost 2-1 playoff hopefuls Middlesbrough. Oxford are still down in the mix a little bit, 42 points, very much so, really. Just 2 points above the drop. That's going to change, isn't it, regularly? You can see this the last 7 games. As I said a few weeks ago, both ends of the table in the playoffs, and everything is going to go to game 46. We just got to get there. So Oxford, I think, will find Sheffield United a tough task. And too tough to get any points, I think. Oxford United 0, Sheffield United 2. Then we have Plymouth Argyle versus Norwich, and I think unfortunately Plymouth, as I say, it's a lot to make up now. 7-8 points over 7 matches is probably a step too far. With the current form as well, it's just slipped away a little bit again. Unfortunately, just the 1 win in the last 6 in the current form table, and they're taking on Norwich, who probably have got too much to do for the playoffs. Looking at it, they're 5 points behind, and a lot of teams involved. And that's all, as I say, that's been the theme all the way through. It's all right, look, you're only 5 points behind, but there's also 5 teams between you as well, which doesn't help. So, but I think they'll go down and play their football, do their stuff, and take the points down at Plymouth. They had that very late win, Norwich, had a very late win against West Brom last week, which gave them they'll cling to something if they do have a real run. So I think they'll take the points this week, though. Plymouth 1, Norwich 3. 4 to go. And we've got Preston North End against Stoke City. Now, Preston feeling a bit of an FA Cup hangover, possibly. They were put away quite comfortably by the Villa in the end. Competitive first half, but Villa sort of put their class on things in the second half and ran out 3-0. And that hangover kept to the Wednesday evening this midweek when they went to Derby. And Derby obviously really up for it with these wins they've had recently. Put Preston away in the second half and ran out 2-0 winners. And Stoke, bit of Jekyll and Hyde recently, but they had a good win against Queen's Park Rangers last week. So I think Preston won't want to go out this season with a whimper. They've done pretty well with their cup run and their improvement in the league over the season, and proving one of the hardest teams to beat, really, generally. And I think it'll be proven again. They'll be back. Give themselves a week now to get all the FA Cup thing out of their system. Go and have a couple of few more home games, or 3 or 4 home games left, whatever it is, and enjoy it in front of the fans. So Preston 1, Stoke City 1. My take there. Now we have Queen's Park Rangers against Cardiff, and Cardiff, of course, had a helpless midweek because they weren't playing. Only one match was, and it was the match though that put them back into the bottom 3. So Cardiff, whose form, I quickly scroll down, just 3 losses, but they've only picked up 4 points in their last 2 matches. But prior to that, 3 losses on the trot, which has cost them a little bit of trying to get out of this. So they're right in the mix totally again, and they are away to Queen's Park Rangers, who are on that one of the 3 teams in the 45-point group, who will feel as if things are okay, but they can't afford any real slip-ups. They can't afford 2 or 3 losses, and then they're right back in it. So I think QPR will take the points here. They've been a bit up and down lately. Lost 3-1 to Stoke last week. They haven't been very up, actually, because they've lost 5 of their last 6. But I just think QPR will steal themselves here, home advantage, and just nick it by 2-1. Queen's Park Rangers 2. Queen's Park Rangers 1. Queen's Park Rangers 2, Queen's Park Rangers 1. That would be a good game, wouldn't it? Queen's Park Rangers 2, Cardiff City 1. Queen's Park Rangers playing themselves to guarantee points. Okay, 2 to go. Very early in the morning I'm doing this, by the way. Not enough coffee on board. Sheffield Wednesday against Hull City is the next on the list. And as I say, Hull also are feeling the heat. Just 1 point above the relegation line, and 1 point and 1 place above the relegation line. Sheffield Wednesday are safe as houses, they're fine. But they're just having a few rumbles of discontent and a few alarm bells coming out of their club this week, where their salaries weren't paid on time, or not all of the salaries were paid or something. I haven't read the full gist of the story, but the owner is having some sort of creating a few waves, I think, in the background, and all is not well, possibly behind the scenes at Sheffield Wednesday, which is a shame because they've had a decent season and they're in the Championship at the end of the day, and it's a good competition to really focus on, and they've got these backdrops. This backdrop at the moment of a bit of unrest, possibly. So Hull perhaps have a chance here to go there and prey on that a little bit. And they need to get something from the game, and I think they just might well go up there and sneak it. Not far to travel for their fans, so I'm going to take Hull to take this one, having had that really poor home defeat to Luton. Hull, of course, last week. They would have expected a minimum to get something out of that minimum draw, but they didn't. It's cost them points, and it's cost them pressure in the league. So Sheffield Wednesday 1, Hull City 2. Perhaps a bit of a surprise there, but I just think there's something there for Hull if they go for it. And last, but certainly not least, because it contains the form team of the moment, and it's unusual to see so many green win W's for a side at the bottom, but they've got four wins on the trot, which has lifted them from 29 points up to 41 in the blink of an eye, really. And they're now Derby, who were looking a really forlorn hope, as I say, 3-4 weeks ago, have made a real dash for survival. And it's exciting their fans. They're back on side with the arrival of John Eustace from Blackburn and all of that saga that went on just after Christmas, or in the early spring. So here we are then, Derby going down to Swansea, who we never know what they're going. They had an incredible 2-2 draw at Leeds, of course, that late stoppage goal just after Leeds had scored late on in the 90. So they put a dampener on the Leeds party. But Derby will go there full of confidence. There's no reason why they just can't go there and do their stuff and continue what they've been doing in the last 4 matches. And I think they will. I'm going to give them their 5th win on the trot here. So I'm going to take Swansea 1, Derby County 2. So there we have it. There are all the matches. Just checking I had the 12, because it's unusual not to have one on the Sunday. They're all there for you. Game week 40, looking forward to it. It's going to be a tremendous weekend. Very tense matches now, right across. I love this time of year. You can feel it in the fans. You can feel it in the crowd. You can feel it when you watch these games now. That every kick, every throw on, every corner, everything is vital to the whole pattern of the game. So really looking forward to this weekend. There is a midweek programme. Game week 41 will soon be on us next week. So I will be, all being well, I will be here early next week to review the Game week 40 outcomes and what's that done to the league. And of course preview next midweek's Tuesday and Wednesday fixtures, as I recall. So there we go. Have a great weekend. If you're in the UK, enjoy the spring sunshine that we seem to be rewarded with at the moment for going through the dark winter. Wherever you are in the world, stay safe, stay healthy. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Get your friends and everybody involved. They do some great stuff here. The predictions are just a small element of what they do on this excellent channel. All of it, a lot of it's a bit of fun, a lot of it's some serious content, so there's something for everybody. I'm going to keep quiet now, let you get on with your weekends. Enjoy. I hope you have a great time, and I'll see you again very soon. Thanks for watching.